Well, as we know, dozens of folks voiced outrage in front of Allentown City Hall today. This is an investigation that is continuing into an item resembling a noose that was reportedly found on a city employee's desk.
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
The purpose of this press conference is to provide an update regarding the noose investigation. The Allentown Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews with persons, analysis of evidence, and consultation with the District Attorney's Office of Lehigh County. As a result of the subsequent investigation, LaTarsha Brown was charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, and false reports to law enforcement, a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree.
Hey, yo, what is goody? Thank you for checking out another episode. I am your host, Wavy. Please disregard if you hear like any noises and all that in the background. I'm having some trees cut in my backyard, you know, trying to get it all ready and set for the summer. What a time to be alive for black people in this country. We have it so well off. Hey, yo, Wavy, what are you talking about? Black people are constantly facing an uphill battle, whether it be discrimination, racism, less opportunities. They came from a long history of redlining, blah, 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 blah. For a country that claims to have so much racism behind every turn, everywhere you look, it's an oppressor or a colonizer, then why is it whenever I'm seeing these hate hoaxes taking place where black people are the victims, that it's a nothing burger? You remember we saw Juicy Smollett, who was the innovator of the fake hate crime. He actually put a little bit of thought into it, you know, to hire these guys to beat him up in the middle of winter and scream MAGA country, pouring bleach on him. He was an innovator. But there have been so many that have followed in his footsteps trying to perfect what he did. All right, we had Bubba Wallace with the NASCAR, where he said that there was a noose there. There seems to be like a noose theme, you know, which I don't get in 2025 because I don't think the white supremacist is going to necessarily use a noose, you know. But we had Bubba Wallace. Then we had the Atlanta Falcons player who ripped the TVs off of the walls, you know, painted all types of derogatory slangs on the walls. But that brings me to my story today. Out of Pennsylvania, we have an Allentown employee, LaTarsha Brown.
Yes, that LaTarsha is accused of filing a false police report after authorities found only her DNA on the rope. Oh. Wait, you can find DNA on a rope? Oh, boy. I better pick up some wet wipes on the way home.
Who went to work one day and could not believe that that white supremacy was still so alive and well in this country, that with no fear of backlash or repercussion, one of these people filled with hate, with low IQs, left a noose on her desk. Miss LaTarsha Brown did with what any reasonable person would do. She called the police. This case was originally filed on January 11th. And we all know what took place about 9 or 10 days later. In my opinion, this noose was placed here with the timing that it was to kickstart something, that another obstacle that the Trump administration would have to take on. You know, because who knows, after her case went viral, she might have had a handful or two of copycats, and then they might have had some copycats. So who knows what she could have actually started. And I said something she could have started because this whole thing was debunked. Come to find out, she put the noose there herself. I know the impulsive knee-jerk reaction of the black community is to believe all black people, you know, believe all victims. And if they said that happened, then that must have been what happened. And without any evidence, no proof, no police report or nothing, you have people organizing. You know, this took place in Philadelphia, and I'll get to the video. This took place around Philadelphia, where crime is through the roof. But as soon as these people get even the slightest scent that there could be a race issue, let's roll it.
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
A call for action and fight for change. We will not be silenced.
Community members and leaders made their voices heard in front of Allentown City Hall Monday afternoon.
Just to think that people have to go to work in fear for their lives.
Let me just say this real quick. A lot of those people look like they're in the age range to be receiving Social Security checks. You know, they're out here in the middle of the day. Look at the skies. This is the middle of the day. They're all out there protesting. Maybe they're being paid. I'm not sure. But I know in the middle of the day, I'm at work. You know, whenever I get on and make these videos, this is in the evening time. Once I've already clocked in my 8 hours for the day.
Police continue to investigate an item resembling a noose found on a city employee's desk.
This egregious act is not just an affront to one individual, but it is an attack on the entire community.
Several spoke during a rally, calling for transparency, prevention, and an immediate federal investigation among a list of demands. This incident, community members note, is not the first racial discrimination issue City Hall has dealt with.
I really want to know how these people feeling right now. You know what I'm saying? These people grew up after segregation and after Jim Crow ended, and it's like they mentally can't let go of that. I understand it may have been impactful and whatever. It may have been traumatic. But in 2025, why are we as a race constantly looking backwards? Why aren't we looking forward to the future? We're always looking in the rear view. And everyone wants to sit here talking about the white man, the white man. It makes no sense. There's people coming here to this country, in this country, don't speak a lick of English. You give them 5 years. I bet you with their work and work ethic that they do something and make something of themselves rather than 5 years of nothing, of sitting there whining and complaining. This is the official police report after their whole investigation has concluded from beginning to end. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I will highlight on some of the important things. All right, so January 10th, 7-Eleven, LaTarsha Brown.
Yes, that LaTarsha.
Arrived at her office, called the police at about 7:38 to inform them she discovered what she believed to be a noose on her desk. Okay, so she got there at 7-Eleven, 7:38, she discovers the noose. You ask me, maybe she just didn't want to work that day. Maybe she arrived, she was a little bit hungover. Maybe she partied the night before. Maybe she was up taking care of a sick kid all night. But she said at 7:38 she ready to be out. Officers responded during the investigation. Video surveillance and building access controls records were reviewed to identify who was present at the time from when Ms. Brown left work on the afternoon of the 9th and her arrival the morning of the 10th. These employees were interviewed and each were asked if they could provide a DNA swab for testing. Every city employee agreed except Miss Brown. So right there, flags should be going up. Senses should be tingling. Everybody should be like,
hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Why, after you call the police, which is within your legal rights, you know, from if you think that a hate crime has been committed against you, yeah, you call the police, you get a report, you start getting, you know, that ball rolling. But why would you not want to submit a DNA test? Initially cooperative, Miss Brown later requested that the investigation be discontinued. So now this is strike 2. First, you don't want to give the DNA swab. Now you're calling for the investigation to be shut down. Now, given the circumstances, right, as the police department that is taking on the investigation, they want to be fully transparent. Yo, this was all a waste of time, yo, I'm telling you. The noose was submitted to the lab for DNA testing on January 14th. On January 24th, a search warrant was served for Mrs. Brown's DNA, and a DNA sample was obtained. On the 27th, her sample was submitted to the crime lab for comparisons. On March 10th, 2025, they reported, the report indicated that Ms. Brown's DNA matched the DNA profile obtained from the swabs of both the outer surface and the inner knotted portion of the noose taken after taken apart. No other person's DNA profiles was found on the evidentiary items involved in this investigation, which means LaTarsha Brown,
Yes, that LaTarsha.
is not only responsible for placing the noose on her desk, she's responsible for tying the noose. It was found on the inner and the outer. This is the inner, I'm guessing, on the inside of this coiled up part, and on the outer part of this coiled up part, and this part as well. Her DNA and her DNA alone, after swabbing everyone else that was in the building, and everyone else was willing to submit a DNA sample except for the victim in all of this. This is LaTarsha Brown's official public court summary. All right, it's charged with a misdemeanor in the third for false reports, misdemeanor in the second for tampering with evidence, and I really don't think that this is enough. On top of, I don't like to say that people should be fired from their jobs, but I think that this warrants being fired. Okay, she works for a city. I don't think she deserves any of those benefits because of what she tried to do. I think you could actually label these type of actions as terrorism, because what you're trying to do is what are you trying to do? Okay, I would love to know, because I'm not the smartest guy in the room and I don't claim to be. All right, I'm on here for discourse. I'm on here for conversation so that people could come to understandings. But I really want to know what she stood to gain from this, besides maybe some clout, because that's what everybody seems to be doing this for. Closing out, LaTarsha Brown.
Yes, that LaTarsha.
Had all these black people up in arms, and people are so easily manipulated that without even questioning anything, they just 100% believed her. Just for the evidence to come out that says, you know what? She lied. You all are idiots. And on top of that, we're going to turn around and charge her. Now, she's being charged with a second and a third degree misdemeanor, which I do not agree is enough. And I'm sorry if that sounds a little bit harsh, but can you imagine what she potentially could have started? She wanted to start the race war Jussie Smollett had envisioned. I'm glad her hoax was busted, and that, the law enforcement agencies that were handling it were as transparent as they could be. They don't want this to make the headlines, that a black woman was victimized in her public sector job, government job, and nobody took it seriously. But there was nothing like that, all right? This woman is a sham. This woman is a liar. This woman is a deceiver. And anyone who believed her without questioning a little bit after seeing previous cases, I don't know. I don't know what to tell y'all. But what do you think about this situation? Do you think that she was being honest and the authorities manipulated the evidence to make her look foolish? That we must believe all black women and we must protect black women because they're constantly being victimized by bigots like this, that think that they could just go up to this woman's desk, place a noose on it, and, I guess that this is the America that we live in. Or do you think this woman was a liar? All right, the evidence came out. She got the FBI even involved just for what? Wasting more taxpayer dollars. And what this does is unvalidate when other black people are calling and reporting on this, and it's true, you're going to have people at the back of their mind say, oh, but is this another hoax? I'm not sure what white people are using nooses in 2025. If they wanted to take out black people, all they would have to do is drop a crate in the middle of Philly with some Dracos, some ARPs, and Glocks with switches, and just let y'all go to town on yourselves. They don't need to do anything. They got black people mentally enslaved, and on top of that, we kill our babies in the womb at the highest rate of anyone else, and we kill ourselves. Either way, I'm interested to know whatever you're thinking in the comments section. Till the next video, please be safe and stay wavy.
Repetition is the father of learning.